everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm Beth Jones.
And I'm Peter Dubois. First tonight, the highly anticipated report from the U.S. Army on actions related to the October 25th Lewiston mass shooter's mental health issues has been released.
The report cited multiple communication failures within Robert Cart's Army Reserve chain of command and between military and civilian hospitals around West Point, among other issues. 3 Army Reserve officers were disciplined for dereliction of duty and recommended for administrative actions, according to the report. It went on to detail the Army's interactions with Card in light of growing concerns about his mental health beginning in January of 2023, months before the October mass shooting. The report has been sent to Senator Susan Collins after months of delays by the Army. She says she was originally told that report could be ready as early as January. Senator Collins says when members of Card's unit became aware of his psychological problems, they should have extended Card's active duty orders.
I recognize that reservists, I believe, are on duty for something like 38 days in a year, but the commanding officer had the authority to extend his active duty status and should have done so, in my opinion, in order to make sure that he had more access to health care, that TRICARE would have paid for it, and that there would have been closer supervision and restriction of him. There were also a lot of misunderstandings by some of the unit leaders on what they could and could not do, and this was one of them.
Senator Collins adds she is working on legislation to require military services to trigger states' yellow and red flag laws when a service member is determined to be a danger to themselves or others.
New details are emerging about that fatal crash along the Finson Road in Bangor yesterday that followed a high-speed chase with the Penobscot County Sheriff's Office. Our Grace Blanchard shares the latest.
The Finson Road here in Bangor was the scene of a fatal crash that claimed 2 lives on Monday following a pursuit with law enforcement. We are now learning that is the second police chase the victims had been involved in within a 2-day span. According to Bangor Police, the victims, Noah Mashiro, 39 of Bangor, and Sheena Soktoma Rolfe, 39 of Orono, were also involved in a police chase on Saturday morning with a Bangor officer. Police say Soktoma Rolfe had a warrant for her arrest for alleged drug trafficking. Though Bangor PD say there was no warrant out for Mashiro, he was on probation for drug-related charges, and one of the conditions of that probation was to have no contact with Soktoma Rolfe. Footage leading up to the crash obtained by a resident's security camera shows the car passing another vehicle at high speeds. A few moments later, you see a Penobscot County Sheriff's deputy following with his lights on.
24, we just passed through Davis Road. He's in oncoming traffic in the left lane here. I'm 1015, so I'm not going to be able to pursue here, but I'm going to try to see if I can get him to stop.
The Penobscot County Sheriff's Office could not comment on the incident due to the pending investigation. Though the family of the victims wish to not speak on camera, they say a GoFundMe has been created to help cover the cost of funeral expenses and support the children of the 2 victims. Details can be found on our website, foxbangor.com. According to the Bangor Police Department, the crash remains under investigation. In Bangor, I'm Grace Blanchard for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
And tonight we have new information about an investigation in Great Pond. Maine State Police say the deaths of 2 people found inside a burning home there have been ruled a murder-suicide. Police say the Aurora Fire Department was called to 23 Old Dam Way in Great Pond about 5 a.m. back on May 20th. They discovered the bodies of 2 people inside and notified the State Fire Marshal's office. Autopsies were performed and one victim was identified as 35-year-old Marie Robbins, who lived in the home. She was a member of the Aurora Volunteer Fire Department. Her cause of death was undetermined, but the manner of death was ruled a homicide. Meanwhile, the other person was identified as 38-year-old Ryan DeVisme of Aurora. A spokesperson says the investigation indicates DeVisme set the house on fire before sustaining a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. The spokesperson says Robbins and DeVisme were previously in a relationship.
With President Biden's withdrawal from the presidential race, the Democratic National Convention will look a little different this year. Our Augusta reporter Corey Bouchard spoke with the chair of the Maine Democratic Party to learn more.
He's really been one of the best, most productive presidents in our nation's history.
Bev Uhlenhake is the chair of the Maine Democratic Party. After President Biden withdrew his candidacy for the 2024 presidential election and endorsed his vice president Kamala Harris, many in the party have coalesced under Harris, securing her spot as a presumptive nominee. On Monday, Maine's delegates met and unanimously voted to endorse her.
I think it's a great pick. And in fact, I've come out and myself as a delegate to the National Convention, I have also endorsed Kamala Harris, and I will proudly vote for her to be our next presidential nominee.
Uhlenhake says despite the endorsement, should another candidate throw their hat into the ring, individual Maine delegates would be free to vote their conscience.
When our delegates do that, they still have the right to change their mind. No one is requiring them to vote for our candidate. It's about endorsing a candidate as our delegation.
The Democratic National Convention will look different than we've seen in decades. Uhlenhake says the convention's Rules Committee will be meeting on Wednesday to go over specifics.
It is different. We expect it to be a very peaceful process. I don't expect you're going to see quite the same interactions in Chicago that you saw in 1968.
Within the next few weeks, Vice President Harris will also have the task of picking her vice presidential candidate. We asked Uhlenhake who she would like to see on that short list.
I am not going there. I have spent the last 24 hours paying attention to a whole lot of other emails. I'll think about the vice presidential candidate in a couple days.
In Augusta, I'm Corey Bouchard for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Well, Vice President Kamala Harris has quickly built momentum as she hopes to take the top of the Democratic ticket since President Biden's announcement he's stepping aside. Fox's Connor Hansen has more on what Harris had to say on her first campaign stop in a key swing state.
The path to the White House goes through Wisconsin.
Vice President Kamala Harris spoke to supporters in Wisconsin just days after Republicans held their convention in the key battleground state.
I pledge to you I will spend the coming weeks continuing to unite our party so that we are ready to win in November.
The vice president has already raised more than $100 million for her campaign since President Biden said he's stepping aside Sunday. She's also secured enough delegates to be the party's nominee and is raking it in key endorsements. Democratic leaders Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer now saying they support Harris at the top of the ticket.
She said she would work to earn the support of our party, and boy, has she done so in quick order.
Soon, Harris will have to choose a running mate, a process that typically takes months. Among those on her reported shortlist are Arizona Senator Mark Kelly and Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, both from key battleground states.
The vice president has a deeply personal decision to make as to who she wants to run with, who she wants to govern with, and who she thinks is prepared to help her lead the nation.
The Democratic National Committee will meet this week to decide how to move forward, but it will likely choose its candidate in a virtual delegate meeting in early August before the convention. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox News.
And the husband of Vice President Kamala Harris will be in Maine on Wednesday. Second gentleman Douglas Emhoff will campaign for Vice President Harris in Portland. He'll start his day at a reproductive freedoms roundtable and end with a kickoff event for Harris for President Maine. All right, and as we look outdoors today, got some rain, but honestly, we also have been getting some relief from those hot temperatures, so, hard to complain about it.
Yeah, the cool off was great. You throw open the windows even during the rain because it wasn't overly slanty. It was just coming down, but the nice breeze, the fresh air, definitely appreciated. And looks like the rest of this week's going to be a little up and down too. But let's start with a check of our overnight and find out more.
First weather tonight is brought to you by Physical Therapy and Balance Centers, providing relief to people who are experiencing issues with pain, dizziness, or balance. Physical is spelled different because they are different. All right, take a look at that radar right now. Those showers that were around us this morning are starting to diminish, but we do have some more showers coming possibly early in the morning tomorrow, and that we can see the clouds bringing in that moisture for tomorrow morning. Other than that, high temperatures today were a little bit cooler. We can see Bangor right around 72 degrees, Bar Harbor at 73, Rockland at 72 as well. So a cooler day happened today due to those rain showers early on this morning. Taking a look at the overnight planner for tonight, we're going to have mostly cloudy skies, and those lows are going to be right around the low to mid 60s.
That is a delightful looking overnight right there.
Yes, it is.
All right. Well, still to come on Fox 22 News at 10, a local nonprofit that assists seniors has received a large grant.
And leaders in the Sanford community got together to clean up a former unhoused encampment. We'll have those stories and more local news coming up.
Meet Stacy at Sheer Haven in Bangor. Whether you're looking for a total transformation, want to try the newest trend, or just need an expert opinion on hairstyle, Stacy is up for the task. For 15 years with a passion for custom cuts and colors, Stacy makes getting your hair done the perfect experience from start to finish.
John Brown first opened his own appliance store in Ellsworth in 1976. With his gift of storytelling, a strong work ethic, and a philosophy of putting others first, John and his wife and children saw the business prosper and grow. Today's third and fourth generation of family and their entire team continue to follow the example set by their grandparents and parents. Brown Appliance and Mattress, High Street, Ellsworth, a family tradition of quality, value, and customer service that always puts you first.
Had enough of long lines, empty shelves, and overcrowded megastores? Discover Parity Shop and Save in Brewer, your local culinary oasis in the North Brewer Shopping Center. Revel in fresh produce, pantry must-haves, organic delights, and Aroostook County's beloved products, all affordable and high quality. Can't find an item? We'll special order it. Shop with us today and feel the difference of our family-run, community-focused grocery experience.
Hey Red Sox fans, you've got to play You Pick 'em Red Sox at foxbangor.com. Local weekly winners receive prizes from Chase's Family Restaurant and Hideaway Lounge, or from Chick-fil-A. Register now at foxbangor.com. You Pick 'em Red Sox is sponsored by Blind Faith Tattoo, Bangor, K&M Auto, Holden, Old Town Redemption Center, and Twin City Tile Brewer.
One final pitch.
This is intimidating.
To close the deal.
The winner of America's Next Food Star is...
Food Stars 2-hour season finale, Wednesday on Fox.
Meet Stacy at Sheer Haven in Bangor. Whether you're looking for a total transformation, want to try the newest trend, or just need an expert opinion on hairstyle, Stacy is up for the task. For 15 years with a passion for custom cuts and colors, Stacy makes getting your hair done the perfect experience from start to finish.
Hello, I'm Emma Smith, and coming up on Good Morning Maine, we'll have further details on the crash that resulted from a police chase in Bangor on Monday morning. Plus, we'll have local explanations on the Democratic National nomination process and an update about the Millbridge Theater that's set to show films soon. These stories and more coming up.
A Blue Hill nonprofit has received a $100,000 grant to help local seniors. The grant, which will be dispersed over 3 years, is from Point 32 Health Organization, and it'll help fund the Bridging Neighbors program, which provides companionship and healthy meals to people over the age of 60. Healthy Aging Coordinator Lori Johnson says it will enable the organization to take care of more aging Mainers.
A big part of what Bridging Neighbors is doing is providing advocacy for people, as well as providing that social companionship from the volunteer. We're really starting to see now that we're making a difference and helping people also with social isolation.
The program is looking for volunteers as well, so if you want to give back to the community or if you know someone who would benefit from the program, you can visit our website, foxbangor.com.
After nearly a week of Wilton's town office and public safety buildings being hampered with a flea infestation, officials confirmed that everything is now back to normal. The town was first notified on Monday the 15th after a cleaning company discovered the fleas the previous day. It took numerous cleaning efforts over the course of several days to get rid of the pests, during which time the town office remained closed to the public. A select board meeting, which was slated to be held on the 17th, was rescheduled for tonight. And according to the town of Wilton's website, tonight's select board meeting agenda included dedicating the town office's walkway and railing to lifelong Wilton resident Hazel Flagg. Flagg worked for the Wilton Police Department as a crossing guard, served as an election clerk for the town, and started the Flags on Main Street project, which displays at least 75 flags flying throughout Wilton from Mother's Day to Labor Day.
Looking to our south now, thousands of needles were picked up at a former encampment site in Sanford. Now, leaders are looking for ways to prevent similar issues in the future. As Mal Meyer explains, one lawmaker believes a COVID-era policy helped lead up to this current situation.
Sanford's Public Works Department did a 3-day cleanup in June at the Heritage Crossing site. Then, an outside company with trained personnel went around and bagged hazardous materials.
Knowing that they were giving out boxes of 100, I equate that to 14,716 syringes.
City Manager Stephen Buck says he has contacted the Maine CDC and Maine Access Points, which runs a needle exchange in the area. He wants them to come up with a way to reduce harm for both people using the needles and the public that the city could advocate for in Augusta.
You have a harm reduction program on one side for bloodborne pathogens, but the improper disposal of these syringes are creating a public health hazard in another area.
Maine CDC hasn't responded to a request for comment. The interim executive director for Maine Access Points said she was unavailable.
We don't want to result in a public health crisis whereby we have children with hepatitis or other citizens of the community from random sticks.
At the beginning of the pandemic, an executive order suspended a needle exchange limit through special programs. Before, people had to return an old syringe to get a new one, but that's no longer the case.
Hence, the community is now littered with these dirty needles.
Representative Anne-Marie Frederick says she submitted an after-deadline bill to go back to how it was pre-COVID, though that didn't move forward.
If I'm reelected, I plan to pursue this again because it is urgent. It is a need.
A breaching whale crashed into a boat today in Portsmouth Harbor, capsizing that boat and sending 2 people into the water. Video captured from another boat showed the whale smashing into the vessel. Brothers Colin and Wyatt Yeager of Maine said they were out fishing off of the New Hampshire coast for the first time when the whale appeared.
I saw it come up and I was just like, oh, it's gonna hit the boat. And then it kind of, it started to flip.
I had my fishing rod right here and phone in my hand, and I saw it go up. So I was like, just lucky enough to be facing the right direction.
A quick action and helped the other boaters out of the water, but certainly just a scary, scary situation right there. Oh my goodness, just that footage is mind-boggling.
It really is. And, I think it's to their credit that, they didn't know if the whale was going to come back up. They didn't know if that could happen again, and they still went over there and provided assistance. So, hats off to them for helping folks out, for sure.
Really brave effort.
Absolutely. Well, coming up on the 10 p.m. news on Fox 22, Taiwan is preparing for a possible Chinese invasion. Meanwhile, the country braces for a major storm.
And the UN sounds the alarm over Israel's latest actions in Gaza. Those stories and more as the 10 p.m. news on Fox 22 continues.
Subaru summer is finally here. Escape and explore in a brand new 2024 Subaru Crosstrek. Get 3.9% APR financing on select models or lease for just $299 per month. It's your Subaru. Find it at Quirk.
Mainers are tough as nails. And when it comes to quitting smoking or vaping, we don't give up. Because Mainers know every quit attempt is a step in the right direction. The Maine Quit Link offers free help to stop smoking and vaping, including personalized quit plans and free nicotine gum, patches, and lozenges. Because quitting tobacco with a little extra help is more successful than quitting cold turkey. Quit like a Mainer. Enroll online at MaineQuitLink.com or call 1-800-QUIT-NOW.
These days you can buy a new mattress anywhere. However, getting the right mattress at the right price will keep you up at night. When you're ready for a new mattress, come to Dorsey's. We've delivered more mattresses to this area than any other retailer. With over 48 years of experience, the largest in-stock selection, plus our 30-night sleep guarantee, we've got the right mattress for you at a great price. Dorsey Furniture, Route 1A, Holden. Sleep well, my friends.
Roto-Rooter has served the greater Bangor area and beyond for 35 years, offering plumbing, hydrojetting, snaking, descaling, video inspection, and grease interceptor cleaning services. For all your residential and commercial clogs, call Roto-Rooter today, 990-1234.
And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
Tired of your internet service constantly letting you down? Those other providers may promise the world with their flashy advertisements, but are you truly having a good customer experience? Fear not, because there's a new player in town. Introducing GoNet Speed. No more endless hold times or automated responses. We're here to listen, support, and provide you with the exceptional service you deserve. Our fast, reliable fiber internet, it's mind-blowing. Let us show you what true internet satisfaction feels like.
Make this the summer at Quirk Ram in Bangor. Lease 25 Ram Bighorn for $546 per month or get 0% APR on Dodge Hornet or 2.9% APR on Jeep Wrangler and Cherokee 4xe hybrids. It's your Ram, Dodge, or Jeep. Find it at Quirk.
You're watching Fox 22 Bangor.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is in Washington to speak with lawmakers and meet with President Biden and Vice President Harris. His visit is already leading to protests over his handling of the war in Gaza. Fox's Rebecca Castor has the latest from Washington, where security measures are ramping up.
More than 100 demonstrators taking over the rotunda of a Capitol building on Tuesday to protest the war in Gaza. Capitol Police quickly stepped in and made arrests, but larger demonstrations are expected Wednesday when Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu speaks to Congress, an address lawmakers have mixed reactions about.
I'm not going.
I will never be supporting him.
I am not attending. I don't think Benjamin Netanyahu has any interest in getting to peace in the Middle East.
I think anytime a leader of one of our allies is speaking to Congress, we should all be there.
Israel is our closest ally. I'm looking forward to the Prime Minister's address.
In preparation for Netanyahu's visit, police have significantly boosted security around the Capitol building and recruited outside help.
You swear or affirm? You swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution.
More than 200 NYPD officers were sworn in as U.S. Capitol Police special officers on Tuesday.
Unfortunately, because of the environment that we're in, the additional security measures have had to be put in place.
Netanyahu plans to check all his boxes while in the U.S. After a speech to Congress, he'll meet with President Biden at the White House Thursday and have a separate meeting with Vice President Harris. Then Friday, he'll travel to Mar-a-Lago to sit down with former President Trump. Prime Minister Netanyahu met with the families of hostages on Monday and indicated their release and a ceasefire deal could happen soon. Talks are expected to resume later this week. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
Meanwhile, Taiwan's military is preparing for a potential invasion from China. This as a major storm is forcing troops to cancel some drills. Fox's Alex Hogan has more.
A typhoon forcing Taiwan to cancel several military drills off its east coast on Tuesday. Officials here say naval and land exercises will continue across other parts of the island to prepare troops for a potential invasion from China.
In order to respond to the changing geopolitics, our government must have a plan.
Fox News getting a look at troops rehearsing response drills at an airport in the coastal city of Hualien and converting a taxiway into a makeshift runway. They say locations like this could be primary targets during an invasion.
It's a very important chance for us to evaluate our operational plan for how to protect Taiwan. We ask all the members of armed forces to do their best in this training.
The island also holding defense exercises for civilians. Blasting sirens to simulate a Chinese missile attack on Tuesday. Cars moved to the side of the road as people were told to seek shelter. For 4 years, Beijing has held regular drills around the island to ramp up pressure on Taiwan to accept China's claim of sovereignty. This week, Secretary of State Antony Blinken and Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin traveled to Asia to reassure allies of the United States' support.
The more you have that collective weight on China, I think the more they're likely to not lead us in that direction.
Meanwhile, Taiwan's military says it will make adjustments to ensure the safety of its troops and its equipment during this storm. In Taiwan, Alex Hogan, Fox News.
Well, Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle resigned following Monday's inquisition at the hands of both Republicans and Democrats in the House. Fox's Aisha Hosni is on Capitol Hill to tell us about what comes next.
Kim Cheadle is now the former Secret Service Director.
Members on both sides of the aisle called for her resignation, and I think that was the right decision.
And a bipartisan effort is underway on Capitol Hill to investigate the agency. As former President Trump, who met with Cheadle at the RNC last week, tells Fox Digital, "She never gave me proper protection. Many requests were made by on-site Secret Service for more people, always with a turn down or no response."
There are others in the chain of command that need to be held accountable. We'll make sure that that happens.
Today, House Speaker Mike Johnson and Democrat leader Hakeem Jeffries launched a bipartisan task force to figure out how the alleged shooter, Thomas Crooks, got such a clear shot at former President Trump.
This kid did some investigation. That position was probably the best position outside the perimeter.
The Homeland Security Committee grilling the Pennsylvania State Police Commissioner, who testified that to his best knowledge, 2 Butler Emergency Service Unit officers were stationed inside the AGR building with a direct line of sight to where Crooks would eventually climb up. But that sometime before the shooting, the officers were told to move to go search for him.
They had left that post to go look for him. Is that what you're saying?
My understanding is yes.
I think that's revelatory.
And was that relayed to the Secret Service, the team that surrounds the president himself?
I can't answer that.
Well, if it wasn't, that's another big mess up.
FBI Director Christopher Wray will be on the Hill on Wednesday. Lawmakers are hoping to get more answers from him. On Capitol Hill, I'm Aisha Hosni, Fox News.
And still to come on Fox 22 News at 10 hour, Jodie Percy at the Millbridge Theater to highlight their recent milestone achievement.
And in sports, the Patriots season is officially underway. Hear from first-year head coach Gerard Mayo as the team reported to Gillette Stadium for camp. We'll be right back.
These are the best ocean rescue teams on planet Earth.
You want to be a lifeguard? This is the real deal.
Whether it's time to buy or sell your home, Patty Thompson is a name that you can depend on. With over 25 years of experience, your family will be in good hands with Patty Thompson.
A new deck is a great, affordable way to improve your home or camp. Hammond Lumber Company can help you create the perfect deck for your outdoor space. Visit Hammond's product showroom and explore their extensive range of decking and railing options. Your Hammond sales rep will be happy to help you with your materials and design choices, and Hammond delivers from any of their 22 locations across Maine and New Hampshire. Make this the year you enjoy that new deck you've always wanted. It starts when you bring your vision to Hammond Lumber Company.
If you've been injured and think you can't afford a lawyer, think again.
Lowry and Associates can be your lawyers, and there's no fee unless they win money for you.
We don't get paid unless you get paid. We call it the Lowry Guarantee.
You got nothing to lose. Just call the twos. They win or it's free. That's the Lowry Guarantee.
Lowry and Associates settled my case for $300,000.
Call the twos. We win for you.
If you're hurt in an accident, what do you do? Call 222-2222.
Protect your vehicle from rusting away with Bell's Automotive Protection. We are the leader in mobile undercoating and rust proofing in Maine. We'll travel right to your driveway using the best and safest products on the market. This is much safer than rubberized coatings that can cause damage later on. We spray all types of vehicles, including commercial fleets. We all know vehicles aren't cheap anymore. Don't let the harsh winter chemicals eat them away. Call us or visit our page for a free quote. 207-659-3805.
Introducing Tailwaggers Mobile Pet Grooming. We bring the salon to your doorstep. With Tailwaggers, your furry friend receives top-notch care and attention from baths, haircuts, and nail trimming. We do it all. Say goodbye to stressful trips to the groomer. Tailwaggers makes grooming a breeze. Tailwaggers Mobile Pet Grooming, where convenience meets quality. Book your appointment today because your pet deserves the best.
Whether it's time to buy or sell your home, Patty Thompson is a name that you can depend on. With over 25 years of experience, your family will be in good hands with Patty Thompson.
Lawmakers want answers from CrowdStrike on the global IT outage. They're telling its CEO he needs to let them know by tomorrow when he can appear before their committees. They want to know what happened that caused 8.5 million Windows devices to bug out, and they also want to make sure it never happens again. Fox's Bowen Kudrovich has the latest.
Lawmakers calling on CrowdStrike CEO to testify over the massive tech outage. House Republicans are urging George Kurtz to answer questions before Congress over his company's software update that caused a global Microsoft outage starting Friday, affecting more than 8 million devices. The tech meltdown still causing chaos worldwide. Thousands of flights have been canceled, stranding some passengers for days.
Phoenix. Oh, what a disaster it was. We had to stay out there for like 3 days, I think.
Hospitals, banks, and countless companies were locked out of necessary software for day-to-day operations. The Department of Transportation says it's looking into Delta Airlines as it struggles the most to return to normal capacity after the outage. At one point, it knocked out 1/3 of the carrier's flights.
It's just insane. You know, older people, children, just stuck in these airports, pregnant ladies. Like, I don't know how you can do this.
Some crew tracking systems are still down, making it difficult for Delta to coordinate with pilots and flight attendants. Its Atlanta hub seeing the heaviest disruption, getting swamped by stranded passengers, long customer service lines, and lost bags piling up.
I got here around 9 o'clock last night, but my bags got in at like 2 a.m. on the flight that I was originally booked on.
Delta has canceled over 5,000 flights since the outage began, and that number is even higher when counting the service from their regional partners. In Atlanta, Bowen Kudrovich, Fox News.
Well, it's going to cost a little less to send UPS packages. The company cut prices to reverse a prolonged slump in package volume. It says it's still trying to win back customers who switched to rival carriers last year amid a labor dispute. UPS reported weaker profit and revenue for the second quarter, but recorded its first U.S. package volume growth since 2021. Customers are choosing cheaper and lengthier ground delivery options over pricier overnight options that use airplanes.
Meanwhile, millions of Americans are starting to lose count of the medications they're taking every day, creating a new problem experts are calling prescribing cascade. Fox's Steve Harrigan has more from Atlanta.
It's a daily ritual few look forward to, swallowing a handful of pills to help manage medical conditions. But there's been a growing number of healthcare problems related to overprescription in recent years, and now healthcare officials are making a big push to get Americans to reduce their overall intake, saying it is interfering with basic medical tasks like diagnosis.
Even if side effects are happening now, we're not sure which one is causing it, if it's medication related or is it medical condition related.
Overall, 13% of Americans take 5 or more prescription drugs daily. That number shoots up to 42% for those aged 65 and older. Experts call it a, quote, prescribing cascade, with patients sometimes not even aware of what they're taking or why.
Advocating for yourself and having the conversations and just knowing why you're taking any of the medications that you're taking, and anytime anything changes, asking the question why is so important.
Lawmakers on Capitol Hill say part of the problem is funding, pointing out the U.S. spends only $19 per person on public health each year, not enough to educate Americans on the dangers of overprescription.
There's, I think, a serious mismatch between our public health investment and our nation's public health needs.
Some experts say if your daily pill routine is a concern, ask your physician for a medication review. In Atlanta, Steve Harrigan, Fox News.
Well, calling all sports fans. With the Paris Summer Olympics just days away, members of Team USA are preparing for their moment in the limelight. But all the action can be nerve-wracking, even for those professional athletes. Fox's Gary Baumgarten takes a closer look at how they're handling the stress and what they're looking forward to after they finish competition.
Excitement is intensifying throughout Paris as the countdown to the Summer Olympics grows even louder.
Getting into the village and just waiting for your event and the energy around you.
A flow of athletes and their training staff have already started arriving in the City of Lights, including members of Team USA. With Friday's opening ceremony quickly approaching, experts say all the buzz can make it hard for competitors to concentrate.
Maintaining your focus on the mission itself is really important.
Take a look around Paris and you can see why. With many sports facilities built among iconic French landmarks.
The opening ceremony going down, on the boat, on the river, that will be sweet.
But while athletes will be going for the gold, much of Team USA is also excited about playing tourist afterwards, indulging in all the sights and sounds Paris has to offer, especially the food.
After the games, I will be eating everything, wine, cheese.
I'm really excited that I get to go and play in that bougie environment and just feel like the it girl, And I'm really excited mostly for like pastries and bread and croissants.
Those already familiar with Paris even sharing some travel tips.
Some of the little art galleries that you just run into, like walking down the street, are some of the best that I've ever been in.
Others, meanwhile, are thrilled to take inspiration from French culture.
We look at fashion and we're like, okay, what could we pull from and what could we add to our crew?
Gary Baumgarten, Fox News.
Definitely a lot of excitement anticipating the Olympics. I know there are, events that I can't wait to watch. I love the track and field. I love gymnastics and, of course, the rowing.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah.
And it's going to be so fun. I feel like every time the Olympics is on, I kind of discover like a new sport that's fun to watch too, which is kind of the beauty of it. Just so much happening at once.
Yeah.
And all those athletes deserve to get as many pastries as they want when they're all done.
Pastry Palooza when they're all done.
For sure.
All right. Well, in the meantime, our full 5-day is coming right up.
Rain, go away. Unfortunately, that is not the case for us. We do have some more showers coming into those early morning hours and stretching throughout the rest of tomorrow, but we do have some sunshine back in the forecast. I'll have when that sunshine is coming right up.
Comfy, cozy, relaxing. Not Joe. Joe's Furniture. Joe's Furniture Warehouse in Newport is the place to find rockers, recliners, sofas, and easy chairs. Quality furniture, affordable prices. Not your average Joe. Joe's Furniture Warehouse, Grogan Avenue in Newport.
This will be the best summer ever. Good times, good people together.
It's Toyota's Best for Less sales event with vehicles from the longest lasting brand. The brand with best resale value for less. You can get an impressive $1,000 financing cash toward a luxurious and spacious Highlander. Plus, with every Highlander, you get 2 years no cost maintenance. The Best for Less sales event at your New England Toyota dealer, your all-wheel drive headquarters. Toyota, let's go places.
Fires, floods, burst pipes. Disasters happen, but the mess they leave behind doesn't have to last. For 40 years, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration has been there to help Mainers get back to the closest to normal as they can. When your property is at its worst, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration is at their best, and they have been for 4 decades. Put your trust in the Bouchard team. Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration. You keep the memories, we'll handle the rest.
From the land to the sea, Chase's Family Restaurant is the place to be.
Are you looking for a place to unwind after a long day?
Then come check out our Hideaway Lounge.
With a bar that's both upbeat and laid back. And it's the perfect atmosphere for anyone who wants to unwind after work.
Or kick it up for the weekends with daily drink specials and a full dinner menu.
You can fill up on a good time any night of the week.
Thank you for being a part of our family.
Here at Chase's Family Restaurant.
Durable, sturdy, stylish. Not Joe. Joe's Furniture. Joe's Furniture Warehouse in Newport is the place to find solid wood, built to last, made in Maine dressers, bureaus, and nightstands. Not your average Joe. Joe's Furniture Warehouse, Grogan Avenue in Newport.
Welcome to the floor.
Check out Fox's #1 new game show anytime on Hulu.
Let's go!
The Floor, all new this fall on Fox, and stream the first season on Hulu.
Maine weather tonight is brought to you by Washington County Community College. Check out new probations and correction online program. Don't miss out on free college. All right, taking a look at those highs for today. It was a little bit cooler today because we did have some rain keep us pretty cool with some mostly cloudy skies throughout today. So Bangor right around 72 degrees for the high today. We can see Bar Harbor was a little bit warmer at 73. On that, the coastline saw those low 70s today with some mid 70s over to the southwest. We see Augusta at 75 degrees for today. As we go into those overnight temperatures, looks like Bangor is going to right around those low to mid 60s. We'll be right around 64 degrees, maybe a little bit cooler, but not by much. Deer Isle at 61. We can see Wesley at 63. And up north near Clayton Lake, they will be much cooler at around 50 degrees overnight. But as we go into the rest of tomorrow, looks like we'll be right around those mid 70s, but I think we'll be right around 73 degrees with mostly cloudy skies, maybe even cooler with some more rain in the forecast as well. Much cooler down by the coast near Deer Isle, 65 degrees. And around us, we can see some areas in those upper 60s as well. For your temperature trend, looks like for the next few days, we'll be right around those low to mid 70s. But going into this weekend, things are going to start to warm up, especially going into the beginning of the work week, where we'll have a high of 89 degrees, but then we'll also cool down slightly in the Tuesday with a high of 86, but still lots of warm temperatures are on the way throughout this weekend. Take a look at that humidity right now. It is not too bad, but it is going to drop once we go into this weekend. Right now, with those rain showers in the area, it is still pretty muggy out there, so the humidity is still there, but once we get into this weekend, when things are going to clear out, those dew points are going to drop down to those low 50s, and it's going to feel a lot more comfortable for us out there. Taking a look at the radar from afar, we can see we got those rain showers that passed through off to the east this morning, and now we do have our next weather system with bringing a lot of rain just from the southwest right now, and it's going to make its way into our area by those early morning hours. So 6:30 looks like we'll have some nice downpours right around Bangor to the northwest of that as well, and these showers are going to continue to track north. So it looks like the northern part of the state is going to get some humidity and lots of rain up there as well by the afternoon on Wednesday. Things are going to clear out throughout the rest of the day tomorrow, but once we get into Thursday early morning, we can see that front starting to approach, bringing some showers and thunderstorms along that line as well. On that, wind speeds right now aren't too bad. We can see a northeast wind near Bangor at 7 miles per hour, and across the state looks like 5 to 10 miles per hour is the best we can do for wind speeds right now. Other than that, we'll have a low around 62 degrees tonight. We may have some showers early tomorrow morning. Other than that, clouds and fog are the main story throughout tonight. And for tomorrow, we'll have a high right around 72 degrees. Those mostly cloudy skies and a few showers will keep those highs right around the low 70s. Taking a look at your extended forecast, looks like after Thursday, we'll have some high pressure build in, and we'll have those temperatures back into those mid to upper 80s.
All right.
Yep, so things certainly stabilizing by the end of the week.
Yeah, good to see.
Yeah, all right. Sports coming up next. Stay with us.
Meet Stacy at Sheer Haven in Bangor. Whether you're looking for a total transformation, want to try the newest trend, or just need an expert opinion on hairstyle, Stacy is up for the task. For 15 years with a passion for custom cuts and colors, Stacy makes getting your hair done the perfect experience from start to finish.
Gather round, one and all, for the family fun summer celebration that is the Grand Bangor State Fair.
Celebrating its 175th anniversary with fun food farm exhibits, truck pulling July 27th, and tractor pulling the 28th, presented by Whited Ford Truck Center. The 175th Bangor State Fair, presented by U.S. Cellular. 7 fun-filled days, July 25th through the 28th, and August 1st, 2nd, and 3rd.
BangorStateFair.com.
Maine's #1 Kia dealer, Van Sickle Kia, makes driving a new car affordable. Right now, lease a brand new Kia Forte for just $199 a month. You get 41 miles per gallon highway and tons of technology. Or lease a brand new all-wheel drive Kia Seltos for just $259 a month. Or buy brand new Kia Sportage for under $30,000. And best of all, every new Kia at Van Sickle comes with Kia's 10-year or 100,000-mile warranty. The best in the business, making driving affordable at Van Sickle Kia.
The best cars, the best prices, and the best warranty. I'm Peter Van Sickle. I guarantee it.
You know, we can go into a room and have absolutely nothing in there, nothing on the windows, no color, no character, no tone to a room.
that's, I think, where we're strongest, is being able to help someone envision what's going to go in that window.
And we leave, it's totally transformed into something that the customer wants it to be. We've often been told we make a room look better just by leaving it.
Meet Stacy at Sheerhaven in Bangor. Whether you're looking for a total transformation, want to try the newest trend, or just need an expert opinion on hairstyle, Stacy is up for the task. For 15 years with a passion for custom cuts and colors, Stacy makes getting your hair done the perfect experience from start to finish.
Tonight's Sports is brought to you by Diversified Ink Tattoo Studio in Bangor, located in the Penobscot Plaza, providing custom ink by licensed artists for more than 20 years.
Football season is officially here. Welcome back in, everyone. Thank you for staying with us. The New England Patriots all reporting to Gillette Stadium for training camp today. The first practice of the year is Wednesday, with gates opening at 10 a.m. and practice beginning at 11. It's a brand new Patriots team this season. For the first time in 2 decades, someone other than Bill Belichick will be patrolling the sidelines. There's a whole new quarterback room with Jacoby Brissett coming back with 3rd overall pick Drake May. And when it comes to May, Brissett is expected to be the starter, but that's not set in stone just yet.
Look, if Drake, and this goes to any position, if he comes out here and he lights it up, and once again it goes back to the quality of reps, it could absolutely happen. Like, I sit here and tell you, like, coming out of the spring, Jacoby looks like the starting quarterback. Now, with that being said, he'll have competition. There's competition. Like, let's not forget about even Joe Milton, and let's not forget about Zappy. All those guys will have opportunities to go out there and be the starting quarterback in Week 1.
Looking forward for the season to get underway. Let's go to the basketball court now. Maine men's and women's basketball each kicking off their summer practices recently, with Chris Markwood and the men's team getting underway this week. The Black Bears have a good core returning, including guards Jaden Clayton and Kellen Tynes, both back for their 3rd year in Orono. They've also added a healthy crop of new talent, with a few guys coming over from the transfer portal that look to make immediate impacts on the court. And they like the group they have heading into the season.
I mean, no disrespect to anybody we had, but I think this is probably the most talented team we've had since I've been here. So, all the guys work hard. So, we brought in some new guys, like you mentioned. We got some bigs and we got a couple shooters, which is what we needed.
But it's a really talented kind of a nice mix of some veteran transfers. We got 3 transfers coming in with 2 young guys. Great length in that group, versatility in that group, and I think their skill sets and their work ethic really match what we're trying to do here.
In their first 2 years under Coach Markwood, the Black Bears have risen to a middle-of-the-pack America East team, finishing in 6th place last season with a 3-way tie there. They feel they have a great foundation under them, and as long as they keep growing, they're confident they'll get over that hump.
It's just hard work, a couple games, we were like 1 or 2 games from having that home playoff game, and just a couple slip-ups. So from those games, realistically, it's just hard work and putting in that effort to get over that hump, So I think it's just putting in more work.
I think we're heading in the right direction. You had a really good foundational year in year 1. I thought our compete level last year, we were in every game, and that's where you want the program to start to be, is where you're competing every night and giving yourself a chance. And I think we have the pieces in place, hopefully, to kick the door down and break through and keep climbing this year as well.
Let's go to the baseball diamond now. The regular season for Senior Legion has wrapped up, and the state tournament kicks off this weekend at Mansfield Stadium. Let's check out the bracket. The tourney starts Saturday morning. Defending champs Trenton Acadians are the North's top seed. They take on the 4 seed from the South Capital area at 10 a.m. Bangor is the 2nd seed from the North, taking on the South 3 seed Franklin County. That's right after. Quirk Motor City plays the 36ers. That is a 3-2 matchup, with Quirk being the North number 3. Skowhegan is the top seed in the South. They play the OTO Twins. That tournament is going to run through Wednesday, July 31st, with that championship game scheduled for 5 p.m. Wishing everybody good luck. Some big hockey news now. Smack dab in the middle of the summer, the Maine Mariners have been sold. New owner Dexter Payne, a native of North Conway, New Hampshire, has purchased the Mariners franchise from Comcast Spectacor. Payne, who has a lot of family living here in Maine, scoring a lifelong dream. He talked about being involved in the community and continuing learn to skate programs in Portland. He plans on keeping the Mariners in Portland, and 2 of his top goals are to stay with the Bruins and win both on and off the ice.
really excited for the next phase of the Maine Mariners. Absolutely committed to keeping it in Portland. Would like to be affiliated with the Bruins as long as they'd like to have us. I'm absolutely committed to having high quality coaching, a great relationship with the Bruins, and doing everything we can, given the salary cap, to recruit, really good hockey players, but really good people.
Saying all the right things right there. That is all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
This will be the best summer ever.
It's Toyota's Best for Less sales event. College students and recent grads could get a $500 rebate over and above most other offers. See your New England Toyota dealer. Your all-wheel drive headquarters. Toyota, let's go places.
When Rage Room in Winslow wants to know the local forecast, they log on to foxbangor.com. Looking to blow off some steam? The Rage Room is the perfect place to unleash your fury, distress, and have a great time doing it. Call today to book an appointment.
Roto-Rooter has served the greater Bangor area and beyond for 35 years, offering plumbing, hydrojetting, snaking, descaling, video inspection, and grease interceptor cleaning services. For all your residential and commercial clogs, call Roto-Rooter today, 990-1234.
And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
The furniture revolution continues at Dorsey's, and today it's all about sectional sofas. Big sectionals, little sectionals, reclining sectionals, sectionals with hide beds, chaise lounges, even cuddlers. Heck, we even have sectionals with dog beds. When qualified buyers combine our great sectionals with 24-month 0% financing, they're easy to own too. The sectional revolution is in full bloom at Dorsey's, so what are you waiting for?
Be comfortable, my friends.
Hank's Husqvarna is your trusted full-line Husqvarna dealer, offering you everything you need for your outdoor projects. From high-performance lawn tractors and zero-turn mowers to chainsaws, trimmers, battery-powered and powerful snowblowers, we have just what you need. Every piece of equipment is fully set up, serviced, and ready for use by our certified Husqvarna technician. And all sales are backed by our in-house Husqvarna warranty. For parts, service, or new equipment sales, make your way to Hank's Husqvarna in Carmel or Newport.
The Legacy Sandwich, where you can find quality, homemade sandwiches that are made to order. When it comes to food, we take it seriously. That's why we serve shredded chicken and turkey on our sandwiches, and our bacon is cooked fresh daily. To pair with your sandwich, we also have a selection of homemade soups, macaroni salad, and baked goods for dessert. The Legacy Sandwich, voted Bangor's best deli sandwich shop for the past 12 years running. It's not just a sandwich, it's a legacy. Give us a call today.
Judge and the Yankees battle Devers and the rival Red Sox, or Mariners White Sox. It's baseball night in America on Fox.
Brendan Fraser will play a military leader in his next role, and HBO rediscovers a Hollywood legend. Fox's Ashley Dvorkin has those stories and more in the Hollywood Nation.
You broadcast your entire life for public consumption.
Emily returns Fraser's historic role, and Stone will battle Bob in the Hollywood Nation. Sharon Stone will face off with Bob Odenkirk in Nobody 2. She will play the villain in the sequel to the 2021 surprise hit, which featured Odenkirk as a family man with a secret past as a government assassin. Plot details for the second film have yet to be released. Brendan Fraser will play a World War II legend for his next role. According to Deadline, the Oscar winner will portray American General Dwight D. Eisenhower, who went on to become the 34th U.S. president in the D-Day movie Pressure. The film centers on the tense days leading up to the Normandy invasion. Production is set to begin September in the UK.
And the other Elizabeth Taylor, the commodity.
A Hollywood legend gets the spotlight in today's First Looks. Elizabeth Taylor, The Lost Tapes, features the late Oscar winner discussing her on-screen and personal life. The documentary is based on 40 hours of interviews taped in 1964 with journalist Richard Merriman and includes personal archives from the Hollywood icon. It premieres on HBO and Max August 3rd.
Can we please just talk about what happened? England.
Lily Collins is back as Emily Cooper in the trailer for Emily in Paris Season 4. Collins' character is seen trying to move on from her complicated love triangle with Gabriel and Alfie, which left her single at the end of Season 3. Season 4 will be released in 2 parts, with the first premiering on Netflix August 15th, followed by the second half on September 12th.
Promised myself I'd be open to any possibility.
In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
An annual golf event that raises thousands of dollars for the Muscular Dystrophy Association of Northern New England will be returning for its 6th year in August. The Adam McDonald Memorial MDA Open will be teeing off at 8:30 a.m. at the Pine Hill Golf Course in Orrington on Saturday, August 24th. The 18-hole Best Balls Scramble is hosted by the Bangor Professional Firefighters MDA Committee. Over the years, the event has raised over $60,000, and their goal is to raise another $13,000 this year. The Open was renamed in 2021 to honor the committee's friend Adam McDonald, who passed away due to complications from muscular dystrophy.
When this tournament started in 2018, there were 0 treatments available. Now we have over 20 different treatments available for muscular dystrophy. They aren't cures, but they are slowing the progression. They're allowing these kids to have longer, healthier, more fulfilling lives, and that's what this is about.
The entry is $250 per person, and to sign up or learn more about it, you can visit our website.
The Millbridge Theater is celebrating a milestone. The newly renovated space just received a new big screen and projector system, allowing the venue to once again play movies, something that hasn't been done there in almost a decade. Our Jody Hersey has the story.
Downeasters are a strong, resilient group of people, and we just persist until we get it done.
Hard work and main resiliency is what helped Millbridge residents rebuild the town's only theater and creative arts center. It reopened last year for live music and shows, but one thing was still missing.
Movies are what the community missed the most and wanted.
Thanks to Gateway Millbridge, a nonprofit dedicated to revitalizing downtown Millbridge, over $1 million was raised for the building and a new movie screen and projection system.
It's a momentous occasion. It's a heartwarming occasion because without the generosity of people, it never would have happened.
The very first movie to air in the new space was the original Wizard of Oz, an all-time favorite of the theater's previous owner, Dave Parsons.
It is so important that I got to see The Wizard of Oz today because it was my all-time favorite movie. I grew up here in Millbridge, and the fact that I get to bring my daughter and my granddaughter today is just very special.
The theater's new executive director, Kimberly Lane, envisions many more gatherings to come.
There's a lot of great opportunities and uses for this building beyond just movies. I mean, this is a venue now.
The theater will offer another free showing of The Wizard of Oz on Saturday night at 6:30. In Millbridge, I'm Jody Hersey for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
That seems like a pretty fun thing to do with your Saturday night. Go see, a classic movie on the big screen. Why not?
Yeah, and especially being able to do so in your own small town with your friends and family in the town, pretty cool.
Yeah, super fun. Yeah. All right, well, that's going to do it for us, folks. From everyone here at Fox 22 News, take care and have a great night.
Good night, everyone.
For more local news coverage, switch over to our sister station, ABC 7, right now for ABC 7 News at 11.
What if you could whiten your teeth by simply brushing your teeth? Now you can.
Come on, Juno, let's go.
Get this question correct, and you win $25,000 for being in your lucky range and $25,000 for hitting your lucky number 7. This is for $50,000. Can I see the last question, please? The traditional mascot of Munich's Oktoberfest is a beer-drinking penguin.
Be confident, be confident.
You answered False. The last time you were in Munich, you were not drinking beer.
I was in high school.
$50,000 are on the line. You don't remember a penguin?
I don't.
Were you correct?
I don't know.
Well, it's been our absolute pleasure having you here tonight. Did you have a good time?
Please give it up for Krista. See you next time on Lucky 13. Stay lucky.
Lamorne Morris guest host Jimmy Kimmel Live with Zachary Levi, Billy Magnuson, and music from Aaron Frazier. New Jimmy Kimmel Live.
This is ABC 7 News at 11.